Is that the point at which you might have started to think of yourself as a leader?
I don't know. I knew there was a small cadre at the top of our organization, which was called the Committee on Appeal for Human Rights, Lonnie King, myself, and a couple of others. And we knew we were the leaders. He was the leader, but we knew we were leaders too. So I think I wasn't saying I'm a leader, but I knew I was a leader. I was thinking of myself, I was a leader of this group. I was a leader of the Atlanta sit-ins.
Mm-hmm. And did you, at that stage in your life, have any kind of a concept of how you would lead?
Not initially, I don't think, because initially we were focused on Atlanta restaurants, primarily, integrating these restaurants. Within a few weeks or months, the vision began to broaden and spread, but initially just here. So we thought, if we can take care of these things, then we can go back to what we were before. And after a short while, it became clear that first, these things weren't going to be taken care of right away, and secondly, there was more to do outside of lunch counters. There were movie theaters, there were bus stations, there were, a world out there was segregated, and we could use what we'd done in this instance to attack it in these instances too. So there was going to be more. So this was going to be a longer struggle than we thought, and I knew I was going to play a role in it. Wasn't sure what that role would be, but initially, no, we had this kind of narrow vision.
And who organized the game plan?
Lonnie King is most responsible for organizing it, but it really was a collective. And even though we had a hierarchical organization in Atlanta, later when the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee is founded, it becomes in time an organization with a communal base where all of the people who are doing the work are making the decisions. There is a head, there is a leader, a chairman, and an executive director, and they wield day-to-day power, but big decisions are always made collectively. And again, that model, in some respects, comes from the Quaker meeting, of all these people sitting in a room, and everyone knowing that each person has the right to stand up and speak truth to power.
So was that a concept you brought to SNCC?
No, I think it came, I don't know how it came. Some of it came from a remarkable woman named Ella Baker, who had a long career as an organizer of protest, and who had worked in the budding cooperative movement during the Depression in Harlem, forming economic co-ops to buy milk and groceries and so on. And she developed, these co-ops developed the notion that there's one vote per person, not one vote per share, one vote per person. You might have 10 shares, I'll have one, but our votes are equal because each of us is a person. And she bought that. She didn't tell us that, but she bought that to us early on. She was one of our adult advisors. We didn't trust older people. And Ms.
Anybody
Baker,
over 30, for sure.
well, Ms. Baker was in her late 50s and very much the distinguished lady, but we trusted her and always called her Miss Baker. I know some of the women called her Ella, but I could never call her Ella. She was always Miss Baker to me.